huge year for you. I mean, Octane festivals, tours, singles going crazy. I mean, can you put into words what this year has been like for you?
It's been a dream come true. Honestly, I feel like we've been working so hard and to finally see some things pay off. It's just been incredible to, see the fans and watch it grow. It's been incredible. I'm so grateful.
Yeah, I'm new to the, is it Royale or is it Royal?
It's
That's the
royal.
question.
It's royal. Thank you for asking. I feel like everybody I meet, I'm always like, yeah, it's royal, and they always ask, and it's so nice.
I'm new to the Royal Lynn music. I caught on after I heard 6 Feet Under, the Death Wish. I am hooked.
Thank
Um,
you.
Absolutely. The music's changed a lot since Six
hmm
Feet Under. I've gone back and listened to a lot of the early stuff, and you definitely have a country background. Even 6 Feet Under had some country undertones, but as things have progressed, it's a lot more rock based now. Was that on purpose, or what prompted you to go kind of switch directions?
So I've always been a metalhead at heart. I grew up listening to hard rock and, bands that have really influenced me to this day. And I always wanted to create something in the genres that I love, which, like I said, is the metal hard rock genre. So the fact that we got to kind of do that with a segue such as 6 Feet Deep that started with a country root, but then
Hmm.
into this rock thing, which is super, super cool to kind of join forces. And then I was like, well, if we just keep creating art and it's sounding this way, and this is kind of what's genuinely authentic to me, we should continue on this. And that's kind of how we ended up here with like Death Wish and, the next single as well. So I'm really excited. I've got country roots and I grew up in the middle of nowhere, but I'm a metalhead and I want to create hard rock.
Yes, same. And that's one of my favorite quotes I saw on your Instagram when you're doing the 6 Feet Deep video is mental health isn't talked about enough in small towns. I'm from a town of like four, five, 600 people, small town Iowa, middle of nowhere.
Where?
Um,
Whereabouts?
I'm from Wayland, Iowa, so middle of
Okay.
nowhere. I'm in Indianapolis now, so I'm around civilization, thank God. But um, I know what it's like in those small towns. You don't talk about your problems. You don't talk about not being okay. It's have another drink, sweep it under the rug, move on, be a grown up, and just you're fine. Um,
Absolutely.
how important is it for you to talk about that part of your roots and bring that to light because it isn't talked about enough?
So one of my main things is I like to write what I know. And I, am no different than everyone else. I struggle with my mental health too. And that's kind of where all of these songs have come from is a mental health point of view. And like you said, like it is not talked about enough. And I'm here to kind of do that, but also do it in a way that it doesn't feel like you're listening to, a mental health song. But a lot of songs that we actually grew up with are based around mental health. So it's kind of cool to be able to be in this journey and talk about these important things that maybe wouldn't be talked about otherwise.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even realize a lot of the lyrics are about mental health. And honestly, you go into some dark areas and really go down deep. One of my favorite lines in Death Wish is life is a funeral home. Everyone's dying. Like that is so, where did that come from?
Well, when we were writing Death Wish, I knew that I wanted to have it relate to people who put their life on the line every day and how mentally taxing that must be and how hard it is to leave home and leave your loved ones and go and do these heroic things, even at the expense of that. And that's ultimately why we started writing this song. And that song is very much about, first responders or anybody who puts their life on the line and their mental health state as well. So That one is such a special one to me, and the video like totally encompasses what I was thinking when we wrote the song. And my uncle is a firefighter, and he actually got to be in the video, and it's so wildly based on like my family members. And like I said, I write what I know. So
Awesome. Um, Going back to small towns, where are you originally from? What small town are you from?
I'm from Southern Ontario in a
Okay.
very small town called Elmer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very, very small town. I actually loved that I got to grow up in such a small town. It's totally shaped who I am as a human being, and being able to like, the smaller high schools and just learn about country upbringing. Like I grew up on a farm, and before that, my parents were in a trailer. So like there's been very moments of my upbringing that I would never trade for anything else.
Yeah, and once being from such a small area, once you get out and get to the bigger areas and experience any form of success, and you made it, like you're there, like you appreciate it so much more because you came from small. Everybody in the small towns are just down to earth, humble, just regular people, and so it makes it so much more. You make it so much more appreciative when things finally the ball
Absolutely.
starts rolling, you start getting that success.
Absolutely. I would say I'm the most regular person in the world. I love that. It's a way of life. And if you grew up on a farm, you know that like your parents weren't driving you anywhere, and like because like they worked, and you're on a farm, you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
So like you weren't in town to be able to like walk to your friend's house. So that's kind of where I picked up music along the way, is just, singing karaoke at the house in the middle of
Yes.
summer.
Yes, in my town, you have to drive 30 minutes either way just to get to a Walmart. Like,
Wow.
it's
Wow.
just,
Yeah, we did not have a Walmart. They still don't have a Walmart.
yeah. The bar is literally called The Bar. That's the name of it. It's The Bar. It's the
Yes.
name
Oh,
of
I
the
love that.
building. Like, it's great.
I love
Great
that.
food. Like,
Yes. Well, they
man,
kind of have to, because if there's only one bar, their food has to be great?
it's also the restaurant. So, yeah,
I love that so much. So you get it. You get the small town feel.
absolutely.
We had
And
a Radio
and
Shack. That was the
man,
only thing that was cool.
what's that?
We had a Radio Shack, and like that was the coolest thing because you could go and get whatever music you wanted to listen to. So I'd send my parents down there to pick up, albums that shaped me.
That is awesome. Um, the new song "Sacrifice." Which I've
Hmm.
they sent it to me. I've spun it probably like 15 times today alone.
You
Like
like
it's
it?
so good. Yes.
Thank you.
Um, I love how all of the singles are very different from each other. None of them are the same. They all sound very unique, but this is probably, I feel like, the heaviest one that we've
Mhm.
heard so far. And you're very honest about I feel like you're honest about how you feel like people perceive you in the song. Tell me about Sacrifice, because it's coming out in just a week or two.
It is. It is. Yesterday was actually the first day that we kind of put up a video with it, which is super exciting. This one is honestly about my mental health. This one is about navigating the music industry, prior to even having like labels or anything, like just trying to navigate this space, especially with mental health.
Mhm.
Um, so this one is a very raw and authentic one for me. It is the opener of our show. We've been playing it for a while, so it's cool to finally see it come out and like get the life that, it deserves. It's been, in my heart for so long now. I'm excited for the world to hear it.
So, had you been playing it live before you recorded it?
Yes, yeah. So
Okay.
we've had it out on the road for since last summer. We've
Oh,
always opened
wow.
with it. Hmm.
How much?
If you've been to a show, you've probably heard it already.
I haven't, but I'm going to one. It's coming
Which one are you
up.
coming to?
The tour you're doing,
Yes.
every single band on that lineup is Skillet's my all-time favorite band.
Oh my goodness.
All-time favorite.
They're
I've seen,
incredible.
oh, it's so nice. Like, I've seen them 35 times.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
yeah, like, doesn't get old. A
I love
huge,
it.
huge Tim Montana fan.
He's
Like
great.
just like you, so 44 people in his town that he lives in, and like it's just he runs a bar and restaurant in his town of 44 people, and he's
Oh,
all
that's
like,
amazing.
I am so, and then Seether Legends. I mean,
Legends.
I'm coming
Legends.
to Chicago.
Oh,
So
amazing. Okay. Well,
I'm
in
co-
Chicago, we'll definitely have to link up while you're there.
yes. Oh, I'll be there. I'm excited, but that's going to be my first Royal Lynn show.
Yes.
But playing a song like Sacrifice for so long, then going in to record it, did you feel any pressure to get it just right when you went in to record that song?
So this one, from playing it live so many times, I definitely formed like a special bond with it. And I feel like
Hmm.
that's when you learn the songs the most is just doing it every single night. Um,
Hmm.
so this one I wanted to make sure was, it's singling. So I really wanted to make sure that it was given the life that it needs and that it wants. And ultimately, I think that, my producer and I, Jonathan Roach, and also he's a writer on it, with Sam Tenez as well. But we went in and we were just like, how do we make this the best that it can be? And that's kind of how we did, the whole record. But with this one, especially, I was like, if this is the first one out of the gate, then we want to make sure it's perfect.
It's so good. I can't
Thank
wait for
you.
people to hear this song. Like,
I know it's almost the 18th.
oh, it's so close. Um, I got to ask how you got connected with Danny from Asking Alexandria for Death Wish.
So I have been a longtime fan of Asking, longtime fan of Danny. I think his voice is incredible. And we wrote the song, and I was like, this song would be so cool if it had, another voice on it. And
Hmm.
it's so funny because he is like the only person who popped into my mind. And I
Nice.
was like, what if? Like, what if in a world like this happened and he listened to it and loved it and made it his own as well, which was super important to me that it was also like his, he loved it and got his seal of approval. So, the fact that he wanted to jump on a song with a girl that no one knows about and wanted to do it with me, it was so special. And, we got to sing it live here in Nashville, which was so much fun a couple months ago. So I'm so
Nice.
grateful and I still look up to him so much, but also like he's a great friend now.
That's awesome. I loved his side project, We're
Yes,
Harlot. Like,
he's
so
so
good.
good.
Everything. Like,
I know. It's so good.
he's,
He's a good human. And that's
yes.
ultimately like the best part is just like we can all just hang as buddies too. So it's
Right. Speaking of performing live together, like, what was it like going on stage with Disturbed?
crazy. Every emotion that you can feel, I was feeling it. It was crazy, and to see the crowd, and I was, you want to do it justice, and you want to make it perfect. And I'm just so honored that they trusted me enough with the song to sing in front of, oh my God, countless people. We're not even sure how many people were there just yet.
Yeah. Let alone like Ann Wilson's part.
I know,
Like,
like tough shoes to fill.
yeah,
Tough shoes to fill.
you killed it. I watched the video, so you killed it.
Thank you.
Um, how surreal was it to be playing a festival and having people chanting your name before
Cra-
you came out?
Crazy. So we were basically one of the first bands to play. So we played at 1:30. It was
Oh,
hot. It to see all the people who were already there, like at the stage and against like the guardrails and waiting. And I was just like, this is surreal for us to play our first festival and have so many people show up and people singing along. That was the craziest thing is,
hmm.
is just to be accepted into the rock community when like I respect it so much. And I am so grateful to even be on this journey and have these people even listening to our songs. And Octane and just active rock radio for even spinning this stuff. Like I'm just so grateful because it ultimately brings people out to the show, and it means so much to me that we're kind of hitting the audience that I've always dreamed of playing in front of.
Yeah. Tim Montana was telling me about that, how he transitioned from country into rock, and he wasn't sure how he was going to be received, but it's so much more of a family.
Yes.
And the rock community, rock radio, just like metalheads in general, are
Mhm.
just like so accepting and just latched on so quickly. I mean, and it's been the same journey for you. Like the second we heard 6 Feet Deep, we're hooked. Like we're in, it's so cool to see the rock community be so welcoming and accepting to such good music and honestly such a great person like you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm like I said, I'm just grateful because I'm one of those metalheads. So I'm just grateful to be a part of anything in the rock community.
Yeah, it's like the DWP putting you on in that spot. Like so many bands have played those spots, Sick Puppies, just all of these great bands, and they put bands there that they know are going to get the crowd going early. It's not just anybody that they put there. Like, do you feel pressure to get it just amped up when you're like that early and people are either they're probably hung over or they're tired or they're there to get a good spot and like you're the one.
So I give it 110% every single time. Like I said, that day was really hot, and I was like, we're going to give them the show that if we were playing a nighttime slot, even if it's 1 o'clock, even if it was 11 a.m., like I want to give the crowd everything I have. So every single show, I kind of play it like that because I feel like it's special to know what we do, and it's special to like amp up for the next people that are coming on. And I was like, I don't care if we played at 9 a.m. and there was 5 people there, we'd give the same show that we would,
Love
if
it.
we're playing the nighttime headlining slot.
I saw you make
110% always.
I saw you make a post. The record is either done or close to being done. Um, Obviously, we know 3 or 4 of the songs that are going to be on there because they've been released as singles. But
Yeah.
are we going to see stuff like Redneck Rockstar, Runs in the West, stuff like that on the record too? Or are those standalone singles from last year and we're going to get other songs? Like, tell me about the album. I can't wait to hear it.
I have spent a very long time making sure that this album is perfect. And every single song has a spot. What I can say is that it's very much based around mental health, every single song. And there might be some that are familiar, there might be some that are new, and it's like you were saying earlier, like there's a lot of different sounds, and we brought in a lot of different influences to create something that's, to me, out of this world.
I love that. Um, Thank you for being so open about your mental health and what you struggle with. Is it difficult to revisit those emotions and places and mindsets when you're going on and performing these songs live? Or is it therapeutic to get it out? Because when you're on stage, like I work a lot in pro wrestling, when you're in front of a crowd,
Yeah.
like it is an adrenaline rush that you cannot describe. So is it therapeutic to go back to those places and perform them live and get that energy out? Or is it tough to revisit those sometimes?
So for me, it's healing. It's healing every single night that I sing every single song. I I write to heal, myself. And if it relates to people and people can grasp on and love the songs as much as I do, I've kind of done my job because we're going to
Mhm.
talk about things that are hard, and we're going to every night that I get on stage, like I know we're going to be talking about certain things throughout the set, and it's very mental health based. So I'm like, if you struggle like I do, here is this song pertaining to this. And every single night I do a free meet and greet. That's something that I truly love because I love meeting the people who are loving the music. It means a lot to me. One stream means a lot to me. And if someone out there is like, you know what, like I am now going to talk about my mental health, and it helps someone out there that's struggling, that's truly the most important thing of what I do, is just talking about it so that others feel like they can talk about it.
Nice. And honestly, I feel like that's one reason fans have gravitated and fallen in love with your music so much is because it is real.
Mhm.
And there's so many bands, younger, newer bands right now that are just blowing up and operating at such a high level. Like it is unreal what the rock scene is like right now. 10 years ago, it wasn't like this at all. Like
Oh,
for man, like
so much.
Louder Than Life is coming up in a couple weeks, and like that whole from top to bottom is stacked with new bands, veteran
Yes.
bands. Like for you being a newer artist up and coming in the rock scene, like what is it like for you to be part of this rock scene right now? Because it is loaded.
I have so many bands that I look up to that
Yeah.
we've gotten to be on the same bills with. It's surreal and it makes you want to do the best job that you can because you're like, I'm getting this opportunity and I'm not going to let it slip, you know?
Hmm.
I think that getting out there and giving them a voice that maybe they haven't heard yet, I think is important too, that does want to talk about things that are happening in the community in small towns and cities for that matter. So to be a part of these lineups, it's a dream come true. It's everything I've always wanted to do. And like I said, I will play the noon slot every single day. I wouldn't care. It's just that we want to get the message out there of what these songs mean and what we're singing about. And the fact that, you know, Danny Wimmer wants us to be a part of this
Yeah.
is huge. And it just means the world to me. So, you know, 110% every time.
How exciting is it for you knowing that you're not just going out on this massive, like loaded tour with Skillet, Seether, and Tim Montana, but Sacrifice comes out one day into the tour.
I know. I love that it lined up that we were able to
Yes.
do that because I have loved this song for so long. And like obviously when we come out on stage every night, like being able to sing this one and I can't wait for everybody to hear the whole song. I think that
Hmm.
it's gonna be it'll be cool to see people singing along to this one as well.
Yes. I mean, I gotta tell you, when I saw that Skillet announced that they were doing a tour, they're coming to show, I'm like, I might, we'll wait and see if they come closer to Indiana. And then they announced that you and Tim were going out. I'm like, and Seether, I'm like, oh man, I'm going to Chicago.
Well, we're excited to have you.
I cannot wait. Talk about the tour. I mean, it's an awesome bill. It's honestly one of the best touring lineups that I've seen so far this year, including the summer tours. Like it is from you all the way up to the end is like there's going to be no rest for anybody in this crowd.
It's a jam-packed crew. I'm so excited to meet everyone. I think that when we got the call that this opportunity had arose, I was like, holy cow, like this is, you know, I've actually never done a full-length tour, and the fact that we get to be on every single date with Skillet and Seether for sure, and a lot of them with Tim as well.
Mhm.
Being able to be like, we get to hit the road for a month, and I love being on the road. I'm like a huge
Nice.
road person. I love it. You know, you get into your routine, you know, playing shows every night. Like one-offs are hard because you play one night and you're like, oh, I want to play the next night again, you know? So being able
Yeah.
to get it for a month, especially with like bands that I've looked up to forever, it's an honor. And I'm so grateful that they trust me to open the show every night.
It's
It's
gonna
gonna
be
be
so
killer.
good.
It's
Oh,
gonna be so good.
I can't wait. Like I'm going to Chicago 2 weeks in a row. So and you guys are bringing me out for it.
Yes.
Like you're making me go. So, um, is there a timetable on the album release?
Soon. Soon.
Okay.
We've got a lot of things in the mix. We have a lot of things that will lead up to it. And like I said, Sacrifice is the first out of the gate. And we're really excited to, you know,
That's gonna
have that
be
one dropping same time as the tour. A lot going on. There's a lot going
yes.
on.
After I mean after the Skillet Seether tour is up, more tours coming. What's the rest of the year look like? Album release, single releases, tour like 2024 is almost over, but what are we looking at for the rest of the year for you?
So it's 2024, we're gonna finish out strong. We're gonna, you know, getting off the road, doing all of those things. But ultimately we are very excited to release everything that's going to be coming out soon.
I love it. Royal, thank you for being just so down to earth, so real, so genuine. The music is some of my favorite music that's released this year. I
Oh my goodness.
absolutely love everything I've heard. I can't wait to hear more. And I am pumped to see you live in a couple weeks. I cannot wait. Thank you for doing this today.
Thank you so much for having me, and I cannot wait to meet you in person. Please come say hi.
Oh, I'll be there.
All right. Thank you so
Awesome.
much for having me.
You bet. Thanks. Thank you. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
We'll see you in a couple weeks.